Hi guys, this is Jerry. Today I wanted to talk about something that is not really known by humanity, and I've been kind of going back and forth thinking whether I should do this or not, whether I should talk about this stuff, but Spirit, Source, the Creator, has been really pushing me to talk about this, so I'm going to continue to talk about this until it's time to stop and I realize that I don't need to talk about it anymore. But I am going to talk about controversial things that are very deep, hidden, occult, but I am not the first person to talk about this on the internet. And you guys could think that it's the conspiratorial or conspiracy, but to me, I would have thought the same years past. And honestly, it's kind of weird when you connect the dots backwards in my life. I can kind of see how I came to these truths, and the people around me were revealing them to me, including my dad, who was a researcher, honestly, who does a lot more research than a normal person would, just telling me about all these dark, hidden secrets for a very long time. So I want to reveal them in this video. I will put time markers if you want to skip around, but I'm just going to tell you the research that I've come across, the master teachers that have been talking about this, and the books, and just all of the cross references are all going to be accumulated in this video. I'm not going to really drop receipts, I'm just going to share my knowledge with you guys. And hopefully you guys get some truth out of it. You feel like the veil is being lifted and you can start to try to see the truth that is going to come out. And if you feel triggered by it, I honestly would ask yourself, why do you feel triggered by this information? Why do you feel triggered by these truths, these dark truths? Honestly, when I first started knowing about these things, started to research about these things, I felt a weight lifted off, and also I wasn't triggered by it, but I wanted to know more about what was going on in the world. And yeah, the first book I want to talk about is The Unseen Hand, An Introduction to the Conspiratorial View of History by A. Ralph Epperson. I highly recommend this book if you guys want to know the background or the history of America, what has been happening behind the scenes. And this all points to the secret societies, the Illuminati, but on a deeper level, there is people that are in the Illuminati. There is a secret society that has been pulling the strings for a very long time. But it even gets even more minimal to that. There's just a group of people, I guess a bloodline, that has been subjugating people to not know their God selves for a very long time. And these people are called the Khazarian Jews, and they use families like the Rockefellers, or all of these white, pale politicians, or so-called secret societies, to be a front, to be a facade, to be some sort of cat's paw. And they are truly the ones that have been trying to pull the strings. I wanted to go over the definition of conspiracy because a lot of words and concepts have been perverted or have been looked down upon, mostly by the religion or by just the culture that we're living in. So, conspiracy. Conspiracy, a combination of people working in secret for an evil or unlawful purpose. So that is the definition, and just by listening to that, there is nothing wrong with pointing out a conspiracy. There is nothing wrong with unveiling what has been going on behind the scenes. And this book is pretty much this guy's life work, and I highly recommend you guys read this book. There's no audiobooks on it, I don't think, so you have to read the book in order to know what has been going on in America for a very long time. And the way that these people work is they like to use commerce, they like to use money, because they are pretty much like a banking family. They are a banking sort of society that likes to pull the strings from behind. And the number one slave system, or the slave system that was instituted during Abraham Lincoln's time and that was instituted during Andrew Jackson's time, was the Federal Reserve System. And this system allows people to take credit outs. This system is the one that is controlling our money flow, and they can just print dollars and they can print bills, and it causes inflation because of that. If you guys are wondering what is the cause of inflation, it's basically the government just prints more bills and it inflates all the prices because there's more bills in circulation. But the money that has been in circulation is called fiat money. It's fake money. It has no backing. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by anything. And Abraham Lincoln was the one who could see this problem. And he was fighting these people since the beginning, or the origin of the United States. And he knew that this would turn into a slavery system. And you guys can see it in modern day that what is debt? What is debt? Debt is basically slavery. And a lot of people are on some sort of credit line. A lot of people are using money in a way that they should not be. That's not a part of natural law. And Abraham Lincoln knew about this, and he was fighting this for a very long time. And a lot of the first presidents, or the people that were creating the US government, were called Freemasons. And they openly say that they are Freemasons, that they are a part of the Illuminati. If you look on George Washington's gravestone, it literally says Freemason at the very top, because that's what he prides himself to be. So these people knew that in order to control the minds of people, in order to slowly infiltrate into every part of our lives, it started with creating a fake system, fake money, and we slowly got away from gold, the fiat money, or we slowly turned to the fiat money. I have heard information that the Federal Reserve System is now shut down, and it has been turned back to the Treasury, but people don't know about this, and they don't know what's going on in the government, and how we are slowly turning into a new system. So, in this book, I'm just going to summarize a lot of this stuff because I want you guys to read about this yourself. Is slowly these people that have been pulling the strings from behind, controlling people, pushing their energy into businesses, commerce, and being distracted by the Industrial Revolution, being distracted by wars that shouldn't have happened in the first place. these wars, this commerce, this industry that all just was planned out and took place was all basically to control and distract people. And for a lot of people, they might be triggered by that because they're going to say, oh, these wars happened because, we didn't like the ideology of this nation. But who created this ideology? Who created this resistance between people? It's always going to be the rich people that are taking a seat back and watching as they see their plans and their plots playing out. And one of the wars that I want to talk about really quick was the Vietnam War. A lot of people didn't understand why this was taking place, why this war happened. Nobody wanted to go into Vietnam and basically have a war with them. But if we look at this war, there was strings being pulled on both sides where money was being funded to colleges, asking these colleges to make sure that college students were basically protesting against the Vietnam War. And there was also the other side that was being funded where people wanted to be patriotic and they wanted to go to war. So they were basically controlling both sides, and a lot of people don't understand that the resistance that is caused at a public level makes you turn back and give your power to the government. So these college students that were protesting and that they all wanted to not go to war at all. So basically, the students that were in resistance to the war, they didn't want to go to war with the Vietnam. The government was funding this resistance because once there's a resistance in society, once there's a resistance in the public, what happens? What do you start doing? You start giving your rights, asking the government to put in laws and controls and systems so that the anarchy, the resistance is quieted. Every single time there is some sort of anarchy or there's some sort of public resistance, this is being funded by the government. And a lot of people don't know this. Every time you go out and you have some sort of protest like Black Lives Matter, the government or the secret society that is in place wants that to happen. Why do they want that to happen? They want that to happen because the public is going to push back and ask the government to start putting in laws, start putting in regulations, and slowly take away our freedoms little by little. And this is what has been happening for a very long time, is little by little they have been deconstructing the Constitution that was put in place so the government could not have power over the people. And they have been placing their own laws, their own regulations upon us, taking away our freedoms, taking away basically our right to govern ourselves. And another big control of economy is war. How do you control a whole population, a whole country of people? Well, you just have a war, and nobody understands why they're having the war. It could be communism, but who created communism? And also in this book, he talks about how communism is slowly infiltrating the US, has been doing so very slowly. Every single decade they have some sort of agenda to control the people with some sort of ideology, and right now that ideology is not necessarily communism because Americans will just thoroughly reject that, but through socialism, which is an offset of communism, people will have been embracing that. And that is what the Democratic Party basically is a socialist party. And if you guys can understand, socialism can easily evolve into communism. You can easily start to receive rights and land, and you can start to receive you can start to receive privileges from the government. But as natural, organic people, we already had these privileges. Why do we need a document telling us that we own land? Why do we need people telling us that we have the right to do this, that we have the right to own arms? So right now, it is working as a democratic system. And actually, I'm going to read what democracy is. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't give me the definition of democracy, but a democracy works like this. So basically, there are laws that the government has put into place, and it's all by majority rule. So whatever the people on a majority rule say is right, that is what happens. But the government can easily basically manipulate the people into believing or thinking that this law or this way of doing things is the best for the people. So I'll give an example from the book really quick. So there's this guy, and he's an outlaw, and he comes into the town, and he basically has a shootout and shoots someone and kills them. So there's this random person, we'll call them the government, that stands on top and speaks to the people. What should we do with this guy? What should we do with this guy? I know what we should do. We should kill him. And the people say, yes, we should kill the outlaw who came into our town and killed someone. And that is how democracy works, is you can easily be swayed into doing, I don't even know what the word is, demonic, or things that are against human rights, things that are against law or justful or natural things that are a part of this earth. But that is what democracy is basically you can manipulate a people into thinking, oh, this is the right way, we should just kill him. So they've put in a lot of laws into place, slowly taking away our freedoms and rights. And our way of thinking has very much been shrinked into animalistic behavior, giving our rights, giving away our powers, giving away everything to the government. But a republic, how does a republic work? How does a republic work is basically there is a law. There is a natural universal law. And we're just going to represent that as the sheriff. So the sheriff comes in and says, no, you can't kill that guy. That guy, you can't just randomly kill him or put him on a stake. Instead, we're just going to make sure that we look at this guy's life and we put in the right. We're just going to make sure that we take a look at the situation and we will deem what is right, what is the right course of action for this guy that came into our town and killed someone. The whole system itself is very much about slowly siphoning out your powers, slowly siphoning out who we are as a people. And I always think about this a lot. What Osho says is that us living in America, it is very much a privileged country. There is a lot of beautiful things that happen and people are very much free. But one thing that Osho says is that we are people that live in golden cages. And when you get out of the US, when you get out of the cage, when you get out of that headspace of being American or whatever it is that applies to the politics or the soul, at the very soul level of trying to give away your powers to an entity, is you realize that golden cage, if you scratch the cage, it's not real gold. So everybody that kind of like lives in this state was like, wow, we're the best, we have so many rights, we're doing so much good for the world, is basically like a utopia. And you don't realize how caged and how imprisoned you really are. And being in a police state itself, where you have to always be watched, you always have to basically being governed by a government that has no remorse for you. They do not care at all for human life. And if you guys are watching this video, maybe you can start to feel it, is there are so many distractions, there are so many loopholes, there are so many things that try to siphon out your energy, whether it's the media, whether it's the food, whether it's the education system, the medical system. They're all trying to poison the mind first. And I think it starts in the education system, is they all try to program you by basically going through this education system, not having dreams, not knowing the God self, not knowing who you are. And you feel so lost after you're done with your studies or the system that they put into place. And you quickly go into a hospital and you try to get some meds, and you might get hooked on some drugs, and you might get hooked on different things. And that is all basically to stagnate your energy, not live in your creator self. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically turn this population of people into sheep, and they have succeeded because we have been in a Kali Yuga, which means that people are not really thinking for themselves. They just want some sort of government, they want some sort of ruler to govern them and to tell them what is right, what is true. And another big, I would say, like, another big programming system is religion, because you always have to look outside of yourself for a source of power. Who is my source of power? It is Jesus, this outside source, an entity, man, who I've never met before. Maybe I connect with him spiritually, and that's totally fine if you guys do connect with him spiritually and you have conversations and you know who he is. But most people don't, and they're just like looking towards the materialistic, the 3D matrix part of things. And when you don't go inwards, when you're not looking within and you're just looking without, and you're asking people, organizations, governments to give you some sort of purpose, you're never going to win. And it all stops now because people are waking up. And one thing that I talked about was the Hegelian, one thing I want to talk about was the Hegelian Dialectic. So basically where they control the cause and they control the reaction of people, and it basically manipulates people into thinking that they are fighting for a cause, they're fighting for a war. But the whole problem, the whole cause of the war was created by these people. And they want you to have some sort of resistance. They want you to have some sort of reaction because it will give away your power to them. You will ask a government, you will start to ask an entity outside of yourself to solve the problem, but they are the ones that created the problem. It doesn't really make sense, but it has been happening for so many centuries, so many thousands of years. And we've all been in this fight, this push and pull of basically, we think we're fighting for a cause, but who created the cause? Who created the Vietnam War? Who created all of these wars? World War I, World War II. Who created this? The Cold War. They did, because they wanted to slowly control a people. They wanted to slowly take over a country, institute leaders that would institute communism, basically slavery upon a people. So the next part of this I really want to talk about is the celebrity or the Hollywood madness that is going on and all the truths that are starting to come out. And there is this one video of this guy, and he was the winner of Australia's X Factor, and he basically talks about in his video how all of the celebrities, in order to be in Hollywood, in order to have some sort of success, they need to be initiated into the Illuminati. And this guy gives receipts, and I feel like this is a very good intro video if you guys are not aware of it. But there are a lot of weird signs and symbols in Hollywood that celebrities show. I think you guys know, like the triangle symbol with like Jay-Z, and they all put it in front of our faces, letting us know like, hey, we are a part of this society, and we are slowly siphoning out our energies to this. We are slowly siphoning out our energies to this entity, these dark forces, because we want fame, we want to be in front of the screen, and this is basically selling your soul. You can't really sell your soul, but celebrities who are in Hollywood, and he gives out a list of names in the video. To sell your soul, you sell your creative work. Whatever you create, whether it's music or whether you're acting, you start to sell that to the system, to the organization that put it into place. And they're always going to try to take from you. They're always going to try to control you. They're always going to try to manipulate you as a celebrity. They're always going to try to push and pull. And if you want more fame, if you want more success, you're going to have to sell a little bit more of your soul. You're going to have to sell a little bit more of your soul or give away more of your creative processes to these people. And where did the Illuminati basically begin? Where does it begin? A lot of people think it began in Europe somewhere, and yes, that is very true, but these secret societies all derived from Babylon. And as I said, the people that are behind all the dirt are Khazarian Jews from Babylon, and they are of 13 bloodlines, cursed bloodlines, and they began these secret societies. And secret societies originally were not perverted, they were not dark, but they took the rituals and they took all of these holy ways of being, and they basically used it to pervert so they could have control over this planet, because they really are not from this planet and their bloodline is cursed. But they slowly wanted to take control. And so how do you do that? You do that by instituting these societies that are able to control governments, that are able to control banking systems, that are able to control people's way of being, people's perceptions, their paradigm. And they use a lot of dark magic, a lot of rituals, which include blood magic, sex magic, and I'm probably forgetting one, but we are spiritual beings, and we are in this body, and because we are in this body, we have free will, because we are living in a free world universe, we are living in a free world, but because most of us have been asleep, we haven't been seeing the people that have been pulling the strings, we haven't been seeing what has been happening underground to children and women, is basically that affects us because we are a part of this earth, and the earth has been crying, has been distraught for a very long time, and it is a woman planet, and so all of those energies affect us. All of the blood that has been basically poured out affects us on an energetic level. Every time we give away our power, we give away our energy or our focus to fear. Every time we look at the TV and we feel afraid about what is happening next, they can extract that energy and it turns into loosh. And they can use that for their own agenda and their own gain. And that's why you don't need to be afraid anymore, because they are going to leave very soon from this planet, because most of us are waking up and they are slowly going to leave. They are already leaving. They're already evacuating a lot of the places where they have done a lot of dark, evil shit. But what does that mean for us? As we wake up, we're going to start to feel free once again. We're going to have access to our spiritual powers. We're going to have access. If you're listening to this, you most likely are a person of a royal bloodline, a psychic bloodline, and you have awakened, or you are going to awake, and you're going to see that a lot of what we're doing in this world doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense because we haven't really been free. We always have to be connected to some sort of system. We always have to be thinking about money, thinking about fears, and we can't go back to this silence. We can't go back to ourselves, which really doesn't, on a natural level, doesn't make sense why this has been happening, but it has been a great distraction. And they have been trying to distract as much as they can because they can continue to rule over us. And on an unconscious level, we have been giving away our powers to them. But this is a free world universe and we are waking up. And on a spiritual level, in the spiritual realms, it is because we want to turn the tides. We don't want to stay in the system anymore. This next part I want to talk about is really very much disgusting and is also a part of the dark magic and the terrible, atrocious things that are going to come to light in this world, and it is what has been happening to the children and women. And I want to refer you guys to a girl or a woman who speaks about what has been happening with Hollywood, what has been happening underneath. And her name is Allie Carter, and she talks about the child's sex trafficking, and she specifically talks about where it takes place as well, so I highly recommend you go check her out. I'm not going to say her whole story, but I am going to say I am going to mention like the premise of what she talks about. So the child sex trafficking has been happening for a very long time, and it is probably the backbone of this secret society of the Khazarian Jews, of these dark forces. And she specifically talks about when she was a child going underneath, and there was entire cities underneath where she would meet celebrities and she would be exchanged as merchandise, or she would be exchanged for her services. And honestly, guys, when I first learned about what was happening to the children, I was just numb for 1 or 2 days. So you guys have probably heard about this, and if you're just hearing about this for the first time, it's just it is just the most terrible thing that could ever happen. And her story and herself just being here right now in this moment of time is so brave to me, and I'm so glad that she is speaking out about this, even if she is in danger. But I'm not going to say her story, so I really want you guys to go check her out and to listen to what has been happening to these children. And yes, Hollywood has been, the celebrities have been doing these things to children. That is why slowly with the Aquarian Age, we are going to get rid of our false idols. We're going to see the truth of who every single person is. And if you guys are somewhat emotionally attached to celebrities, I would say that you need to stop right now. It is time to stop, because who was doing the dirt? Most likely, honestly, I have a feeling it's going to be 100% of the celebrities. It's not going to just be 1 or 2 or a list of them. It's going to be all of them have been doing some sort of weird evil shit, and that all stops now. And I'm gonna end it here with one last segment. And what is the biggest control that is over the soul right now is materialism, consumerism, slavery in any sort of way that you can think of. Whether you're a slave to your phone, whether you're a slave to buying things, whether you're a slave to companies that give you food, which is not really food because it's just not food. It's not real food. It doesn't taste good. Anything that takes you back into this 3D matrix, anything is a form of slavery that they have utilized for a very long time. And at this moment, you really need to snap out of it. You really need to realize that every which way you have turned, they have been trying to subjugate your soul. They've been trying to take over your mind first, and then they can take over your body, and then they can take over your soul. If you guys are eating things that don't make you feel good, if you guys are giving your money, giving your creative power to organizations or entities outside of yourself, you need to stop. And if you are walking through this world thinking that I need to get to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, then you are also enslaved as well. Because just being who you are, being able to know who you are, feeling your soul, feeling the eminence of light that comes from within, is basically who you are and how you should basically move through this 3D matrix, this 3D world. But a lot of people have not. And you can see it in every part of media. No matter what, there is a guru, or there is a content creator, there's a philosopher that's talking to you about how to make more money. They're talking to you about some sort of materialistic pursuit. But if you guys talk to rich people, you actually get to know them, they're going to tell you that they're not happy, but they're not going to come out and tell you that. They're not going to say, oh, I've reached the point, I've reached the peak, but guess what? I don't know who I am. I have no soul. I haven't felt my soul. I don't know what I want in life because I've already reached everything that this material world can offer me. And every turn that you can think of, whether it's the money, it's the drugs, it's basically subjugating people, especially melanated people, it's all for one reason, is they want you to slowly give away your power to them. And you could call this globalism, where we all turn to a one world government, and this one world government is able to allocate, funds, they're able to allocate food to us, they're able to give us privileges, give us land, but we are natural organic people. Why would you sell land that can't be sold? Why would Mother Earth allow that to happen? We are living beings that have our own creative processes, our own creative force. We have the power to do whatever we want because we are the one. We are a part of the Creator, and we are going to wake up, all of us on a collective level, very much soon. But everyone, every single race of people have been enslaved in some sort of way. And if you have fears, you have doubts about yourself, about who you are as a person, if you have given away your energy to your phone, to entities outside of yourself, to a religion who told you to a religion who basically told you to do X, Y, and Z and not go within your heart space and ask yourself, do I want to do this or not? Then you have been enslaved. And this is why I wanted to make this video. I'm getting kind of emotional thinking about what has happened to us as a human species, but we are evolving, and there are a lot of unconscious people right now, but you can slowly start to wake up the planet by talking about these things, by talking about all the dark, evil shit, by speaking your truth, because we need more people, because 2025 is going to be a monumental year for not only Earth, but it's going to be for all of the planets, all of the species that have interacted with us. I didn't talk about aliens in this video because I feel like that deserves a whole nother video, but they are slowly, the government or the media is slowly telling us through these orbs, through these UFO sightings, that they are coming and they are here. There's a mothership that is here, and they're slowly waiting for us to wake up, and they're not here to save us. There's no savior alien race, but they have been interacting with humans for a very long time. Some of the aliens have been doing evil shit with the dark forces that were, but there are other species, and I know you guys have heard about these other species that have interactions with us on a telepathic level, or maybe when you guys do meditations, like the Pleiadians or the Arcturians, whoever you speak with, whoever you telepathically talk with, they are there, and they are the peacemakers, and they want us to evolve, because the whole universes are going to start to evolve as well. They're all going to evolve at the same time with us. And we're getting back to the God self. We're getting back to the illuminated being, the illuminated woman, the illuminated man, where you know that you are the god, goddess that is walking in flesh. You're using this as a rover. You don't need to give away your powers anymore. You don't need to be subjugated, and you don't need to think that all these obscure goals, all these obscure materialistic pursuits and philosophies are going to help you, because they're not. And we're going to get back to the joy. We're going to get back to dancing, being alive, being happy that we're on this planet, and being able to speak to the planet and the animals as if we were one once again. And I know a lot of people are going through the shift. We're becoming more powerful together as we navigate through our heart space, as we are being brought, or we're accessing our powers once again, our psychic powers, or supernatural, whatever you want to call them, our godly powers once again, and we're able to basically move through this earth in our God power and living in a fifth dimensional civilization once again, which is what we have seen, which we have remembered, which we have read about in the Lemurian times and the Anunnaki times. And yeah, guys, I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for listening to me. I think I'm going to continue speaking about this because I know more people need to know what's going on in the world, and I feel like I just basically talked about the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg of everything, but I really want to say thank you for listening to me. I hope this helps you, and I hope you do your own research. I summarized a lot of stuff, and this is not a video that's going to give all of that research in 40 minutes, but I really love you guys, and I hope this enlightens you, this pushes you to think about your own world, your inner space and your outer space, what you're doing, and how you can help others and bring more love to the planet. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys. Bye.